Je m'appelle Ross Twiddle from Cultaholic, and welcome to all the WTF moments from that there episode of Friday Night SmackDown that came from a performance centre with no fans there whatsoever. And yes, it felt really weird to begin with. Of course it would. When do we ever see a wrestling show from the WWE with no fans there whatsoever? Make your jokes about Elimination Chamber 2020 when you want to, haha! But in the end, it was a fun show. The bollocks that normally happens on Friday Night SmackDown was down to a minimum, and Paul Triple H Levesque, bloody hell, that's a shovel, that is. Hit the intro. WTF! But speaking about Triple H, I am taking issue with his speech, aha, at the top of the show, aha. Do you get it? Because he always used to do that back in the day. Triple H, ha. Now, as good as an advert as it is for the Performance Centre and what they do with the people they do those things with, I do not want to hear about the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, walking through the same doors and training in the same wrestling ring as people like Big Baldy Bastard Baron Corbin. Call me a dirty, stinking mark all you want, but right up until the recent Super Showdown event, Bray Wyatt had that aura, the mystique, the woo that took me right back to my childhood. I don't know what woo actually is, but you know, don't you? You do. And I know you can sit there at home and tell me, Ross, the business has moved on from the kayfabe days of old. And you might be saying, as a 27-year-old man, Ross, who looks like he's 47, you should know better and just accept these things because these are things that actually happen. And I know this might be a bad example, considering what AJ Styles said on last week's Raw. But just imagine if a year or so into the original Undertaker's run in WWE, if Vince McMahon was on commentary saying, that man started training in 1986 with Buzz Sawyer in Texas. Rootin' tootin'. I don't know if it was Texas, but you know what I'm saying, don't you? Just takes you out the moment. I want the mystique of Bray Wyatt to come back, and I'm speaking quickly about it. And then we have a direct quote from Triple H when he said, "Let us do what WWE do. Let us put a smile on your face." Mago. Bayley has held the title for almost 300 days. It's the way he says it. He makes it sound like it's one piss and rain all the piss and time, but it's not, is it? It's not, Michael. Stop it. Now, you would have thought on this episode of Friday Night SmackDown, out of all of the episodes of SmackDown over the past God knows how many years, that Vince McMahon, knowing fine well that there's going to be no fans in attendance whatsoever, would ban that silly fourth wall rule that he has his superstars abide by when they're in front of the camera in the wrestling ring. Who the hell are they talking to there, man? They're quite literally talking to a wall and some chairs. And the worst thing about all of this is, no matter what the superstars were saying, the chairs in attendance, they wouldn't stand for anything. They couldn't chair less. And it's Triple H with his massive golden shovel that buried everybody all night long. There he was. I'm kidding, of course. This was 2 hours of Triple H doing what we do every single time we watch a show, and that's take the piss out of Michael Cole. And it was fantastic stuff. More of Triple H on commentary with Cole, please. But the WTF moment here, which Triple H also pointed out live on the show, is the fact that Bayley, who was stood on the ring apron without a microphone in hand, had to hop down to the floor. She had to go over to the announcer's table and scramble about like a glasses-wearing person looking for their glasses in the middle of the night so she could pick up a microphone and speak to Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, who were quite literally stood about 22 yards away from her. Why couldn't she have just shouted? Why did she have to pick the mic up? Why wasn't this show, of all the shows WWE put on, mic'd better in and around the ringside area so clunky bollocks like Bayley looking for a microphone could have been cut out the show? It made no sense to me. Dun 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 dun. Now, I've got to mention this even though I didn't personally see it on the version of SmackDown I watched to compile this video of all the WTF moments, but certain areas in this world of ours saw the wrestlers not doing the wrestlings during commercial breaks. And I know this might have absolutely nothing to do with Kevin Dunn, but he is the only name I know when it comes to WWE production things, so why, Kevin, why? But yes, certain parts of the world got to see the wrestlers who were apparently doing the wrestlings on the SmackDown, standing round having a chit-chat and perhaps a natter as well, and that is unforgivable. Ah, what a debacle this is, Cole. I can't believe it. Ah, my best Vince McMahon impression, said Triple H. Who, of course, has the worst Vince McMahon impression since me. Of course, Paul Levesque, since I know you watch these videos with Stephanie and the dogs. You all gather around the fire and watch this, don't you? We all know that today's Vince McMahon would say something like, "Ah, what a debacle this is, Cole. I can't believe it. Ah!" And of course, 90s Vince McMahon, who always used to speak like he would talk while breathing in, would say something like, "Oh, what a debacle this is, Cole. I can't believe it. Oh." I told you mine was bad. And then we had Eyeball Paul once again, who of course is not the husband, but he's the subordinate of one Stephanie McMahon, saying this live on SmackDown, the flagship show of WWE TV, a show that Stephanie McMahon gave birth to out of her own body. The women's revolution / evolution, all of it, it all started in this place. It all started in the Performance Center. And we all know that is a load of bull bollocks, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. We all know the women's evolution / revolution started when Stephanie McMahon quite literally gave birth to the concept of women's wrestling. Then a women's wrestling ring popped out of her body. What the hell am I saying here? And then all the female wrestlers, they all came out of Stephanie too. Even Mae Young came out of her, Paul. Happy birthday, Mae, for the other day. How dare you try and tell a bunch of lies and take away all of Stephanie McMahon's hard work, Triple H. Who was sleeping on the sofa over the weekend? That would be Triple H. And that makes the bloody shovel counter up to 2. Again, man, he was there again. Bayley has held the SmackDown Women's Championship for almost 300 days. Say combined, man. Is it that hard? And the worst thing about all of this is the fact that Triple H, who of course on this week's SmackDown was sat there knowing endlessly at Michael Cole's soul patch all night long. He just sat there instead of pointing out the bollocks that came out of Michael Cole's mouth. And now it's time for hack theory, of course, because that all but confirms that WWE are doing this on purpose. Why are they forgetting that Charlotte Flair reign from last autumn? If you know, tell me, please. And then we have another direct quote from Eyeball Paul when he said, "I'm going to leave it to you, even though a lot of people don't think you're very good at it, so get on with it, Maggle." Boom! It's there, number 3. And then we have Cole saying, "It's a first for WWE, a show without fans." And as the kids like to say, Michael Cole, I'm stood here saying, I think you're wrong, in a language called Halftime Heat 1999. Rock versus Mankind, empty arena match ting. That thing, according to Wikipedia, was classed as a show. So there you go. So then we have Roman Reigns hitting back at people like me who say he got that Universal Championship match against Goldberg at WrestleMania 36 way too easily by saying, well, hey, I main event every other show, every single night of the year on the house loop circuit ting. So why can't I main event WrestleMania 36? I bust my ass all year long. So why can't I bust my ass on the grandest stage of them all, point at the sign at WrestleMania 36? I mean, there's no doubt you do, Roman, but I bet there's 25 to 35 to 45 to 105 other wrestlers who wrestle for WWE who bust their ass and appear in just as many matches as you do all the year long. All we were asking for was a match for you to truly earn this one-off match against Goldberg, and it would have been fine. It just feels like, oh, well, he's done the time against big baldy bastard Baron Corbin. He's walked into SmackDown one week. Oh, I'll take it, Goldberg. First come, first serve kind of thing. That shouldn't be how it works for the Universal title at WrestleMania 36. And I know you can sit there and say, Ross, well, he's getting his rematch for the title he never truly lost. But still, I'm sticking to me point. Back to Eyeball Paul we go once again when he said, I'm the only man in the history of the world that can get demoted but get busier. He is burying the entire internet in one go. This is unprecedented scenes, everybody. But Michael Cole, upon hearing that, going, The fakest laugh you've ever seen in your life. It just makes your willy crawl back up inside your body, doesn't it? Horrible stuff, Maggle. You've ruined yet another Triple H moment. That entrance at WrestleMania 35 and now this, you bastard. Back to Paul we go, and he says after a promo like that from Shinsuke Nakamura, you can have that match between Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. But the point is, everybody, Shinsuke Nakamura didn't even say a single word during that promo, so Triple H was taking the piss out of Shinsuke Nakamura, so wha-bang! Another shovel. And then we saw a complete, just about, replay of the Tag Team Elimination Chamber match from Elimination Chamber 2020, and apart from the old Alan Partridge, Dan, Lindsay spot involving heavy machinery, just about all of the WTF moments and botches were still there. And that, for me, with WWE being WWE, is unprecedented. Normally, they would edit everything out, wouldn't they? And make it look like the greatest match since a really good match. But also, with Triple H booking the matches and running the show quite clearly on this week's SmackDown, the fact that all of the whoopsies were left in that highlight package thing, you've got to say it, haven't you? Ping, 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 ping. Back to Triple H we go once again when he says the Elimination Chamber was a long match. Luckily, just long enough because Michael Cole just came back from the Elimination Chamber here at the Performance Center, and luckily we haven't been affected by that run on paper, if you know what I'm saying. I do know what you're saying, Triple H. Michael Cole did a big smelly poo, didn't he? A big stinky poo. So we know what to do, don't we, Paul? We need to add another shovel, but specifically a brown one. So there we go, pooey. But then we had sights we've never seen before, completely unprecedented scenes on Friday Night SmackDown as Michael Cole went all Dave Benson Phillips and got his own back on Triple H. He buried Triple H after Triple H buried him lots. Triple H started talking when Greg Hamilton started doing an introduction thing, and Michael Cole let him have it. And I think I might be dying. The end is nigh, the end is nigh, time to run away, the end is nigh, nigh. But then before you could almost blink, Eyeball Paul was back on the attack. This time, he was burying The Miz and John Morrison. He said, it's amazing how comfortable Miz and Morrison are when there's no crowd noise. It's like it happens to them all the time. Boom! But then he was back again saying, we're short-handed tonight, Cole. We can't all just have one job and not even be very good at that. Woo! Come on, Cole, get hyped while slapping him about like he was Goldberg in 2003. Bum, 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 time to bury my goal. Didn't work that, did it? Move on. But also, I'm sure that Mojo Rawley was a Raw superstar, but I can't be too sure because he was barely on Raw to begin with. But now he's on SmackDown. I'll be getting a raise for that assault, won't I, Daddy? And then Triple H replied, no you won't. Every day he's shoveling, boom, there's another one, it's endless. I can be your shovel, baby. I can bury you in pain is what Triple H probably sings to a lot of shovels, because once again, he was burying Michael Cole. He was telling Michael Cole to his face that he looks terrible, and what's worse, he was saying to Michael Cole, there's way too much grey in your little soul patch, and he coloured it in with a Sharpie. I would like to see Triple H try that with Goldberg, who has more grey hairs than Michael Cole. Oof. So then we have Elias, who thanks Michael Cole for being out there right when that screenshot was taken. Eyeball Paul says to Elias, hey Elias, why aren't you thanking me? Elias says back to Eyeball Paul, I think it was Michael Cole's idea to bring me out here, but the shovel came back out once again for Triple H when he said back to Elias, I told Cole it was okay. So basically, Michael Cole, know your role and shut your shovel. Shut your mouth. Poor Elias, eh? He thought the noise of those coins there was the noise of the ring bell, but it wasn't. But also, in this moment, we learned that Michael Cole takes whatever the producer in his ear says as absolute gospel, even though Elias was saying, how? That didn't ring. Michael Cole said, my producer said so that's how it goes, young man. But then he came back once again, did Eyeball Paul, this time saying Elias missed the day in the Performance Center on ringing the bell and what that means. But that's okay, that's why he doesn't understand the techniques of big baldy bastard Baron Corbin. And I don't know about you, I reckon Paul can get a lovely tune on that bloody shovel of his. Quelle surprise, as the French would say. Triple H burying more people live on the air. This time he said, I think Corbin must have hit him, Jeff Hardy, really hard earlier in this match because a second ago, Jeff was firing this crowd up. And I'm not sure it's working. And in that moment, Triple H made Jeffrey Hardy fade away and classify himself as obsolete. Obsoleta! A twist of fury off the distraction. Yes, he called it a twist of fury. And it's a neck breaker. It wasn't even a twist of fate. Now, of course, on Twitter, since Friday Night SmackDown took place, Matt Hardy has claimed that the twist of fury was a WWE call. Why did they do it then? Triple H in burying Shocker. I can't believe it. It's the first time ever. No, it's not. This time he said to Elias, not everybody has the skill to play guitar so badly it knocks another guy out of the ring. What? I've run out of ideas. No, I haven't. Balling. And then we get through to the final segment of the night, and bloody hell, it was fantastic, wasn't it? But I tell you what made it better than it would have been on a normal episode of Friday Night SmackDown. It was the fact there was no crowd there whatsoever. It just gave an eerie feeling, didn't it, as these two men who hate each other were going face to face. It just gave every single word that came out of each other's mouths time to breathe and time to resonate inside your head. The pauses, the silence, it worked so much better, didn't it? It was like the films. So maybe no fans, it isn't all that bad, really. See ya.